This is ICAStnews.com, live and direct from the United Nations headquarters in New York City. And this is Bubbling Under and Bubbling Over. In a week in which one would think, with the General Assembly of the United Nations coming up, in which the surge troops finally left Afghanistan, in a week that one would be hopeful, the world gets a D. A D for disappeared, detained, died, and diddled. It has not been a good week bubbling under across the world. In Pakistan, one of the neglected areas of crisis in the world. Pakistan, a nuclear power. Pakistan, a state within a state where the security and secret police apparatus seem to have a hand uncontrolled by elected officials. This week, Oliver de Froville, the representative of a working group from the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, has come back and reported that great numbers of people continue just to be disappeared in Pakistan. Whether they are seized by the ISI, the Secret Service, the intelligence branches, or by other unknown groups, individuals, the reporter mentioned, feel unable to complain to the government, feel intimidated, feel that going on around them is the idea if they talk about anyone in their family who has been disappeared, as people were disappeared in Brazil and Argentina 2 or 3 decades ago. The government will simply make them disappear permanently. If they don't complain, then there is a chance that people will return. The commissioner asked for Pakistan to investigate the tens of thousands of people who are just out of place, out of mind, with no resort to law, to judicial procedures, to anything rational or real. The disappearance issue and the ongoing rioting in Pakistan lends the picture in our minds of a nuclear power that is unstable. Uncontrolled places in the world, the Democratic Republic of Congo. Recently, we mentioned the outbreak of an Ebola plague in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Now, the good people at Human Rights Watch have come up with a very chilling report about the M23 rebel group. The M23 rebel group has been committing war crimes, summary executions, rapes, recruitment and forced recruitment of boy soldiers. And this comes on top of Nave Pillai's, the Commissioner for Human Rights, complaint in June that there are 5 M23 leaders who, in her words, not this reporter's, in Nave Pillai's words, these 5 are among the worst perpetrators of human rights violations in the Democratic Republic of the Congo or in the entire world. One of them, General Bosco Taganga, is under 2 counts of indictment by the International Court of Criminal Justice in The Hague. Yet, they continue to capture people at the behest and with the backing of Rwanda, the Rwanda government, according to Human Rights Watch. They are continuing to rampage, pillage, and rape their way through the Democratic Republic of the Congo. With 2 people under indictment from the ICI, the question remains, can the world community, can the UN, can human rights observers, or can the International Court of Criminal Justice do anything? Or is more bloodshed, more desperation, more violation of human rights the natural course in this mineral-rich and rights-poor part of the world? Diddling. With 1 week to go before the start of the General Assembly of the United Nations, memories are not far away of last year's session, in which the question and the suspense all focused around Palestine. Whether first the Security Council would admit Palestine as a nation state, where the great powers blocked it, the United States leading the way, and then what would happen in the General Assembly. a year, a lost year for Palestine. Nobody is thinking particularly strongly about what will happen with the Palestinian question this year at the General Assembly. There's been no progress on a peace deal in the Mideast. The Obama administration, at its very best, can be accused of benign neglect over 3.5 years of the Palestinian-Israeli question. More settlements are being built on the West Bank. Hamas and Fatah are still at war with one another. The Arab Spring brought not openings towards, let's say, Gaza and Hamas, but closures. The border closing between Egypt and Gaza went down because of the ineptitude of the Egyptian military in preventing militants from acting against Egyptians. 20 years after the Oslo Accords, and there is little movement on the Palestinian question, the issue of Palestine becoming an official, non-state recognized body will be taken up, but it will not have all the political drama that was circling last year, and it will only happen after the General Assembly goes away. It's scheduled to be voted upon after the American presidential elections. They've gotten all the attention out of the Israeli side as we continue to listen to the Prime Minister of Israel beat the war drums for action against Iran, not peace with the Palestinians. And finally, one other D, a D of declaration. President Putin of Russia has been declaring himself again the strongman. President Putin is trying to be Russia's screwdriver, tightening up the levers and screws of controls on civil society. But even mighty Putin can't go back to the past. Yes, this week he's having his parliament pass a law expanding the range of crimes for which somebody can be found guilty of treason, to include betrayal of the state, not just espionage. Putin has had people cut off information on the internet in Volgograd, ostensibly because there were images that were detrimental to peace between Muslims and Russian Orthodox citizens in Volgograd, the city that was once known as Stalingrad, that marked the place where World War II changed. This, too, sends a chill through the autumn air. D's across the world, not quite desperation, but a declaration that what's bubbling under and bubbling over is not all good in the world's community, and the world is getting to be a more dangerous, not less dangerous place as we head into the middle and end of September. For Bubbling Under and Bubbling Over, for ICASTnews.com, live and direct from the United Nations in New York, I'm Jonathan Sanders.